And now when I've done this, the mechanic will link this pressure plate to the spear traps up here. And as the dwarves walk over the area, or the pressure plate I mean, these upright spears will activate, and then they will deactivate, they will activate, and then they will deactivate, continuously poking the dwarves underneath with training spears. It's very important that it's training spears and not any normal spears, because otherwise the dwarves might actually get injured and die. Something else that's very important to mention about this danger room is that if the dwarves actually walk in with a baby in this room, the baby is very likely to die. And this might mean that if they are actually having birth or seeing something die inside, they might get unhappy from it. If that's the only reason for them to get unhappy, if they are pretty happy otherwise, it's not a big problem. But if they are very unhappy from the beginning and then have to watch their baby die inside there, they will get very unhappy. Yes, the next thing I'm going to show you is how to create archers. Now, archers in Dwarf Fortress, the dwarves, often means crossbows, because you cannot make, as far as I know, you cannot make arrows and you cannot make bows. Only humans and elves can do them, I think. Perhaps goblins as well, but I'm not sure. And you make crossbows at the same place as you make the armor and all the other stuff, and you do that on the forge here. You can also make it on the bowyers. I think we did button B, V, then we got a bowyers work up here, and I place it like so, and then I just create it like this. In order to have a bowyer that makes these weapons, they have to activate the crossbow making skill here. I'm not sure if he needs the crossbow making skill when he's making bolts on the forge. I've actually seen, I think I've at least seen some weapon smithing dwarves make bolts. Now, if you're making bolts with one of the dwarves, you probably want both to activate it just to be sure. And bolts are of course the ammo used by crossbows. You can make these out of bones, you can make them out of, you can see weapons and ammo, you can make them out of any of these material here. When it comes to weapons in this game, you want, for slashing weapons, you want steel. The best weapons are of course adamantine, then it's steel, then it's iron, then it's either bronze or bismuth bronze, and the last useful are copper. Never make slashing weapons out of silver. If you only got silver, then you should make blunt weapons, because blunt weapons, the best blunt weapons are either made out of steel or silver, and then all the other materials are inferior. Much more so, I think. Perhaps iron is a bit behind steel, but the other materials are definitely much inferior because they are much lighter. When you want to make a hammer, you want a very heavy hammer. As you hit the thing, you want more force behind it. And then when you make bolts, I think you should make them out of... when you make bolts, I think you can make them out of any material currently. Before, the steel materials were actually better, but now, as far as the test I've seen, actually the wood material you can make bolts out of are just as effective as the bone material or the metal material. You probably don't want to make them out of bone, because from one little bone you can only make 5 bolts, whereas from one log or one metal bar you can make 25 bolts, which is much more effective. And then when you created the right amount of crossbows and wooden bolts, you need to actually create the squad, and you do that by going into military. And let's see now if I have one already. Now I can create a squad like this. And I think I made I think I changed the no uniform into, well, let's create a new uniform just to be sure, so you know how to do it. Archer. We got 5 people like that. And then when you got these people, you need to go into uniforms to create the new uniform. I want to create a new archer uniform that actually has metal armor. And to do that, as you can see here on the normal, first it's armor, then it's headwear, and then it's legwear. So I go into normal and go into armor. I want breastplates, and then it was headwear. I take helms, and then I take legs, and then what, greaves, and then it's handwear, footwear, buckler, gloves. I want gauntlets, boots. I want low boots. And then it's shields, and I want shields. And then it's weapon, and I want, let's see, crossbow. There, crossbow. Now we got a good setup for a crossbow dwarf if you got steel. Breastplates are the most effective, helms most effective, greaves most effective, gauntlets most effective, low boots most effective, and shields most effective. Now I think, like I said before, high boots are more effective, but you can't trade them, so it's easier to have master crafted low boots if you created them yourself. Now I want to change the squad into having bolts of stabbing. A good name for our archery squad. I want them to have the uniform, and as you can see here, bolts of stabbing, they have individual choice ranged, and I got leather armor. I don't want them to have that, so I go into uniforms. No, I go into assign uniform, capital U. Bolts of stabbing. I think it was uniform form, wasn't it? Not uniform 4. Well, I have to check now. Equip. Let's go back. Bolts of stabbing. Equip. Was it doing like this? Yeah, I was right. Here we got it. Crossbows, shield, boots, gauntlets, greaves, breastplates. Yes. And now when we've done this, we want to add ammunition to the squad. And we do that by pressing F. And I mostly got iron bolts, steel bolts like this. As you can see, this is the same place as you add bolts to your hunters. I prefer to not even have hunters in this game, but sure. And then, as you can see here, we got 250 ammunition assigned to this. Right now, I don't seem to actually have any. Well, I got bolts here, I think. It's just that it bugged out. So I'm going to add ammunition to them like this, and they're going to pick up ammunition over time and then start shooting. And in order for them to actually shoot on the target, I need to give them archer target. I'm just going to schedule first.